guys, Happy New Year everybody. It's Mr. Cousins, I've got Mrs. Tom here.
Hiya.
Today what we're going to do is, we thought because we're in lockdown again, we're going to show you how to cook some really nutritional meals. Okay, and today what we're actually going to use is we are going to use the basis of mince. So remember, mince is a protein. Okay, so we're going to show you how to make a bolognese. But then with that bolognese, I'm also going to show you how to transfer that and convert it into a chili. Okay, so that's two meals in one. All right, and we're also going to show you what can accompany that. Mrs. Tom is then going to show you here.
I'm going to make a shepherd's pie or a cottage pie. Traditionally, a shepherd's pie is lamb mince, but we're using beef mince. Now, don't worry about the fat content of the mince because this is a high fat content, but we're going to drain it off. Sir's going to show you when he starts.
Okay, so, hi everybody. Right, so as Mrs. Tom said, this is a high fat mince. Now it's 20% fat, all right? Now, I know you're probably looking thinking, oh, that doesn't look too bad. There is a lot of fat in here, okay? And the way we can get rid of that fat is by cooking it. And that cooking process is called browning off, all right? So now I've heated the pan here, okay? Now you can see that smoking out. Now this is a dry pan. I'm not going to add any oil to this whatsoever, all right? So I'm just going to take spatula, and you can start to hear it sizzle there now. Okay, I'm just going to place it up as I'm putting it in. Okay, it will break up. Don't worry about the big lumps. Okay, this mince is going to break itself down as it's cooking. So you just want to break it down, remember, and the aim of this is to get rid of as much fat, okay, in this mince as possible. Okay, so that there in this pan I've actually got 600 grams of mince, alright? However, when you are going to be doing your cooking, alright, for each one, so if you wanted to make the bolognese, you'd use 500 grams of mince. And the same for the chili, you would use 500 grams of mince, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is brown these off. So we've got a proper spoon there. Okay, remember your green trays from last year? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to literally let this cook off. Now this mince, okay, mince has to cook for a minimum of 35 minutes, alright? So what you want to do is you just literally want to leave it in there and you just want to kind of stir it round, okay? Now you will find, because you've got less mince in your pan, okay, that it's easier to move around, but you need quite a heavy bottom, okay, big pan. You can do this in a normal saucepan with a lid, alright, but we're going to use a wider, sort of shallow frying pan. Now if you take a look here, okay, you can see the fat that's coming off, alright, and it's starting to bubble. Now don't worry about that fat because we're going to show you how to drain it off. And we're going to show you also how much fat is actually in this mince and how much fat we've taken off.
Also, sir, we don't actually need 500 grams because they could bulk it out with vegetables.
That's right, Mrs. Tom. I was going to show them that anyway in terms of bulking things out, because remember what we're going to make is we're going to make a chili. Now, when I make the chili, I've got a full can of red kidney beans there, and I've also got a full can of sweet corn. Okay, so we can use lots of other things. So you don't necessarily have to make a mince chili, all right? You can use other alternatives. Can you think of any other alternatives? What you can use instead of mince as a protein? I know I can think of a few anyway. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time. So basically, other proteins are beans. So you could just do a chili with beans and sweet corn, making exactly the same sauce, but not using the mince. You could use corn, so you could use sort of the corn, which is the white corn, which is the corn sort of chicken simulant, or you could use the corn mince. Alright, so you don't, or you could use chickpeas, anything you like. You don't necessarily have to use mince. Now I just want to sort of show you how much fat is actually coming off this mince here. Okay, so there's a lot of fat in here. Okay, what we are doing is we're slowly browning it. Now you can see the meat, it has started to turn brown. Little pop bits of red in there in some places. However, it has started to turn brown. Okay, and this is what we're looking for in this. Yeah?
What would happen if I didn't have any mince, or I had a chicken breast?
Well, if you didn't have any mince, if you didn't have any mince, you could use chicken. Okay, so what you could do with the chicken is you could dice the chicken up. Okay, so Mrs. Thomas, you've got a diced carrot there, so we'll just sort of show them. So remember, dicing is where you're cutting something into a cube or a square. Okay, now obviously if you're doing chicken, you want maybe bigger pieces. Or if you've only got a few and you want to eke it out, you could make them smaller pieces. Alright?
Oh, really, sir? If anybody had a food processor at home, you could put a chicken breast in there.
And they could make their own mince with that. Or you can also buy a really, really healthy mince, which is turkey mince. Okay, so if you wanted it, and turkey mince is very, very, very cheap. Okay, it's not expensive at all. Okay, Mrs. Tom, do you want to explain what you're doing there as well?
I'm actually browning the mince, but like Sir said, this has a very high fat content. So I need it all to turn brown, and then I'm going to pour that off. Then I'm going to add my onion, and I'm going to let the onion saute in there, and then I'll add other vegetables. Now, like Sir has said, I've got a diced carrot. Now, we'll show you how to do that safely, because you must remember the bridge and the clove. Sir's got a grated carrot. Now I know what yous are like. I've seen you with vegetables. And truthfully, if you grate a carrot, the nutritional value is fantastic and you cannot taste it. You honestly cannot taste that carrot, and it's a way to disguise it so that you're getting the nutrients.
Right guys, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, because my mince is nice and brown, I'm actually going to show you how much fat is going to come off this mince. Okay, I'm just going to use a normal sieve, alright? The reason I'm using a sieve and not a colander is because some of the meat pieces might fall through. We don't want to lose any of that. Okay, now, I've boiled that mince up. Okay, and I'm going to carefully pour this in. Now you can see all of the fat that was in this mince is now at the bottom of the bowl. Okay, I'm going to leave that a few minutes and let all of that fat drain off. So remember, if you do not have a lot of money, okay, you can buy a cheaper, sort of higher fat content mince, all right, and do this way. All right, it's all about you and feeding your family, but also making it cost effective. This dish I've actually made here for the two, okay, it's actually cost me less than £5. Now I'm going to be able to make, okay, 2 lots of meals which each one will feed a family of 4. So that's 8 meals altogether for less than £5. Okay, so I don't want you thinking, oh, it's that expensive. It's not. You can feed your family a nutritious meal for less than £5, and that's 2 meals as well. Just going to wash my hands up, just fix my glasses there.
It's really important when handling raw meat that you wash your hands all the time. And it's also really important when you're cutting your vegetables that you use a knife safely. Have I done that? No. We're going to demonstrate how to do that shortly. But at the minute, I'm just softening the onions. I did the same as Sir. I drained off all the fat. And now I'm going to let that saute for 2-3 minutes. And then I'll add some more vegetables.
Right, okay, I'm going to put this pan here because I'm going to leave this one on. Alright, I'm not going to use a different pan. I've drained it off. I'm going to wipe that pan out. What I want to do is I'm going to show you how to correctly dice an onion. Right, now, you all say, oh, onions they make you cry. Yeah, they do. Okay, and I'm going to show you a way of how to prevent that. Okay?
I always cry.
Mrs. Tom always cries, but this always stops me from crying. Alright? So you have two sides to onions. You've got the bottom half, which has got the root here. Okay, so this is the south pole. Alright? And then you've got this part where the bulb grows out of the ground. Okay, this is the north pole. Right? So what you're going to do is you're going to use the bridge grip. Okay, can you see how that's forming the bridge? Okay, the bridge grip. You're going to place the onion and you are going to cut it from north to south. Okay, so you're cutting that from north to south. So you can see there's north, there's south. Alright, I haven't cut it the other way, I've cut it from north to south. Now what we're going to do is I'm just going to clear off, empty that in the bin, and the north pole, where it grows out of the ground, okay, I am going to cut that end off, okay, just that end. I'm going to leave the south pole on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to skin the onion into the bin. Why we're adding onion? Well, we're adding onion because it gives flavour. Okay, it's also very, very nutritious. Okay, and it also helps with your heart health as well. It's going to basically add a nice texture and it cooks down. Can you think of any other things why we're adding onion, Mrs. Tom?
No, that's perfect.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, Mrs. Tom, what else are you going to add into your dish there? Please?
I'm going to add carrot next. Now, I've already prepared the carrot and I've diced them, like Sir was saying. I'm going to show you how to do this safely. Now, like Sir said, it's the bridge and the clove. Now, do you think I would cut it like that? No. I need a flat surface. So I'm going to make it manageable and I'm going to make a bridge. So it's just like my hand's making a bridge. There. Pretend my knife's a car and it's going under the bridge and it's just going to cut down. So now it's more manageable for me to use. I'm going to do exactly the same again, bridge, down. Now I can cut that so easy. So that's really safe. I look down what I'm doing all the time. I don't look up and say, what's that? Are you going out today? I always look what I'm doing. These knives are really dangerous. So bridge, down, bridge. When it gets too small and it's not safe to do, you can change the claw. So the claw, you put your finger on the top, just like that, and your fingers are the guide, and it goes down, just like that. So there's 9 done. So one side, and in the bowl. Now these are going to take probably 10-15 minutes to cook. Why do you think we cut them quite small? The reason is, the smaller they are, the quicker they cook. So at the minute, these are taking all the flavour of the mince and the onion, and they're going to sweat down. So I'll leave them for another 3-4 minutes, and then I'll add my liquid.
Okay, I've just finished cooking my pasta there, so I've put it in a colander and I've put it over the pan to let the rest of the water drain, and I'm just going to put it over here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to finish cutting the onion and dicing the onion nice and fine, like this, okay? So before, remember, I used the bridge grip, okay, cut under, okay, like Mrs. Tom said, the car under the tunnel. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the claw grip, okay? Now, when you're using the claw grip, okay, you want to get your fingers, and your fingers are going to tuck under your other fingers, and you're going to rest them, and you're going to rest your thumb on the south pole, okay? You are then going to cut the top off. Now look, why am I doing this? Let's take a look. Why am I not putting my fingers like this? Because I'm going to cut my fingers, okay? Your fingers should be rested under your knuckles, and you're not going to cut your knuckles, but you will cut your fingers. Okay, so cut that off. Again, remember, I'm going to take this off, Okay. And now, to dice this onion, alright, you may have seen this on MasterChef. This is one of the things I love, how to cut onions. I love onion, but I don't like big chunks of it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remember I'm using the tips of my fingers. Okay, these knives are really sharp. You have to make sure that when you are cutting vegetables, you use a sharp knife. If you use a blunt knife, that's when accidents happen. Okay, and you must be supervised by an adult when doing this. I'm going to cut, and as you can see, I'm cutting down. Okay, right down, not to the south pole. Notice I haven't cut right to the south pole. I've cut to about here. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use. This is a little bit more difficult, so I'm going to use. You turn it around there. So I'm going to use the bridge grip. Okay, and I'm going to slice. Not right down through the centre, okay? Look, I've only sliced to there, okay? I'm hold this together, and I'm going to slice down. This gets a little bit difficult sometimes, so make sure you are confident doing this, okay? Now, I'm going to have to use my claw grip, and you can see I'm having to widen the claw grip all the way along, and gently cut this time. Okay, gently cut. Okay, and then you can see, keep your thumbs out the way, because I've done this loads of times where I've actually cut my thumb before doing this. Okay, now I don't want to waste this onion, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run my knife around the edge there. Okay.
When Sarah's just doing that, I'm just now going to add my mushrooms and just let them cook for 1 minute, then I'll add the liquid, the stock.
Okay, so like I said, I have not cried once. That is what I am left with. If you do that, I leave the root intact, okay, and do not cut through the centre, you cut through from north to south, I guarantee you, you will not cry. Okay?
I cry every time.
Okay, right, so now that I've done that, right, I've got my onion prepared. What I want to do is I've got my nice hot pan again. I'm going to leave that little bit of oil in there from the mince. I haven't dried that off. The reason I haven't done that, okay, is because what I want to do is I want to quickly, very quickly, saute my onions. Now I've got some here that I prepared earlier also. And I've got 1 teaspoon, okay, of garlic. Now the garlic, little Aldi, grate, 69p. You don't even have to chop the garlic up, it's already done for you. Alright, I'm going to show you the rest of the ingredients in a moment. Now what I also wanted to show you, okay, I'm going to give that a little stir around. And I'm just going to turn that temperature down a little bit, okay. Now remember, I haven't added any more oil in there, alright. Now, to prepare your pepper, you are going to, I'm going to show you how to do this very quickly. So I'm going to cut the top off, okay. And then I'm going to cut around here, remove the centre, and bash any seeds off in the middle, okay. And then
the seeds on, will it hurt you?
The seeds won't hurt you, but they can be quite bitter if you bite into them, so they're not going to kill you, but they're not very pleasant either, and it's always nice to take them off. Okay, so I've got that quite high there, so I'm just going to leave that off for just a second, okay, because I don't want to burn the onion. Alright, I'm going to let that cool down while I'm doing this. So what I've done is I've cut the pepper in half, and remember, I'm going to go around, and I'm going to use What's this? I'm using the claw grip here, okay, and I'm keeping my fingers well away from the knife, and I'm just slicing this, okay, into long, thin slices, okay. Same with this, long, thin slices. Now, I'm going to take a couple of them, and then I'm going to dice them again using the claw grip. Dice them same size. The reason I want them the same size is because I want them to cook at the same time. Okay, and I'm going to do that with the rest of it. And once this is done, that is all my ingredients prepped. Now, as Mrs. Tom said before, she diced some carrots. Now, the reason I've grated some carrots here, okay, is if you have family members who don't really like vegetables, or sort of say, oh, I don't like carrots, or I don't like this. This is a really good way of hiding vegetables. Okay, they don't know that they're in there. They just go to nothing. However, they add some really good dietary fibre and vitamin A, which is really good for your eyesight. Okay, so that's a really good way of hiding vegetables by grating. You can do that with courgette, you can do that with aubergine, anything you want. You can hide vegetables in the food. Okay, obviously if they're allergic to something, you wouldn't put it in. I'm also just going to take top, and I'm just going to use the claw grip there, and I'm just going to dice those bits there, so I haven't wasted any. I'm going to pop that on there.
So I'm ready to add some stock now. I've got a stock cube that I've put in there. Now this is a no one, but seriously, I prefer all these cheapest ones. They're absolutely fantastic. So I put it in the measuring jug. Now I'm using hot water in there. I need 200 ml. Am I going to pour it like this? No. Why? Because the jug moves. So I need it to be on a flat surface. I go down to eye level, and then I pour the water in. Safely, like that. I have 200 ml. Now I know you haven't had the chance to be in here yet, and so teach you how to do this. But if you look on the side, you've got all these markers, and it's really easy. We'll soon catch you up doing that. So I've got the 200 ml. I'm just going to stir it around, and it'll dissolve. Don't worry if it doesn't, because it will dissolve when it's cooking, because this is on a high temperature, because we need to kill all the pathogens that could be on that meat, or the bacteria. So I'm just going to pour this in. I will need more, but just putting that in to start off with. Stir it around. There we are, and I'm going to add another 200. So off your hunkers, flat level. Perfect. Normally takes half a pint. Now I'm not.
I was going to say, Mrs. Tom, are you going to add more liquid? Are you going to leave that? Are you going to thicken it? How are you going to thicken it?
I'm going to watch it. I'm going to let it cook, because it needs to cook for a minimum of 35 minutes, and then all that stuff's going to be absorbed into the meat. So I might have to add more to it. Okay. Then I might thicken it to make more of a thick gravy.
What would you use?
Well, there's two ways. You could use gravy granules, or you could use corn flour mixed with water, cold water. It's exactly the same as that. Get this up here.
Mrs. Tom, now you said 2 ways there. Now, what I tend to do as well is once I sort of cook I can brown the meat for a while, I can always add a tablespoon of plain flour.
Yeah.
And the fat will combine with it, won't it? And then you can add the stock after and I'll thicken it then.
Well, I know you're going to tell them all this when they get to year 9, but it's all to do with start particles exploding. But you'll teach them that
we'll leave that one for year 9, I think, to be fair. But yeah, you can do that. You can thicken it up with that. Okay?
So I'm still use this for 35 minutes, and I'm not going to add any herbs to it. Because if I add dried herbs now, it is bitter.
Yeah.
So just before ready to serve, I'll add them. So I'm going to leave that now, and I'm going to start on my dishes.
Now obviously mine's been cooking for a while, and I need to add my ingredients. Okay. Now what I'm going to add, okay, because I want to boil this and I have to separate and I have to make 2 separate two separate lots. Those onions are cooked really nicely there. Okay, it's still going to cook in here. I'm going to add the carrot. Okay, I'm also going to add mushrooms. Now this pan's looking rather full, so I'm actually only going to add a few peppers at the moment, and then I'm going to split the peppers between the two later on. So I'm going to try a bit here. Okay, so I'm going to mix this up. So what I want to add to this, okay, is I'm going to add some tomato puree. Okay, now I'm going to show you this. It comes in a tube, and I think you can get it in a tin. It's like 29 pence, alright, maximum. I've also got, alright, these oxo cubes, which I'm going to crumble, and I'm going to crumble into here. Now, give that a little mix. And then what I want to add is I want to add 1 tin of chopped tomatoes, again I think these are about 20 pence, and also I'm going to add half of the passata. Now what I'm going to do at this point, because it is getting rather full, okay, this is your basis for your bolognese and for your chili. Alright, so what I'm going to do to make my life easier, okay, is I'm going to pour half of this out into here. Now be careful when you are doing anything like this, okay? If you are going to do this, make sure the pan is big enough. I'm also going to give this a slice down here, because it's still around the edge. Make sure that your pan is big enough. Now, you can see that's enough for this pan, and that's enough for this pan. Now, what I'm going to do, is I'm going to add the rest of the passata into there. One here. Now, what you can do, this is how that pepper there. So, any water in that pepper. Now, you must be careful with this. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to, you can do this cold water rather than hot water. So, cold water in the tap, right, just give it a shake around, and then you're going to get more of the liquid out. Now I'm going to add half of the tomatoes to this, and half to this. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this one down to number 4, and this one is already set at number 4. Mrs. Tom?
Yeah. When I wait for my mince to cook for my cottage pie, I need to prepare the potato top. So I've actually already prepared it, but I'm going to show you how to do it. So grater, a peeler, everybody thinks these are so safe. I've had the worst cuts ever off these. That is basically a knife. It's the same as a grater. I think Miss Fawcett really put her hand on a grater before. So away from me, just like that. Always away from you. Right. I'm keeping my hands out of the way, and it's always away from me. Why away from me? So that it doesn't cut my hand. Right. So I've just done half of it because I'm just showing you how to prepare it. Right? So pretend the peels took off, even though this is fantastic because this is a form of fibre. If you can, leave it on. You can wash your potatoes and mash it with it on. It doesn't look the best in some cases, but it's perfect. That's where you get your fibre from. So flat surface. It's not going to wobble, flat. What's this? It's my bridge. Straight underneath it. Straight underneath it again. Always a flat surface. Then put it quite small. The reason I put it small is I'm going to put it in water, so it's going to be covered. A little bit of salt just to season it, with just a teeny little bit of salt. Cook that for maybe 15-20 minutes. Drain it off. Always safe when you drain it. You use colander. Now, say I used the sieve before. This is the colander. It's different. It has big holes. Right? So I'm going to place this directly into the sink, directly in. Carry my pan over safely. If somebody's there, I'll wait till they went past. Safely over. Pour away from me, directly into the sink. Always away from us. Why would I not do it towards us? Because I could scald myself. So always away from us. Then top of the pan, back over where you were, and that's ready to mash for my next process. But I'm not ready to do it yet.
Right, okay, so I've got like 2 pans here bubbling away. I've got both the same ingredients in. Okay, exactly the same pretty much. Alright, remember, I'm doing this to show you how to, so you've made the basic bolognese, alright? And then if you want to make it a chili, this is how we're going to do it. So, in order to make the chili, we are going to add a teaspoon chili flakes, half teaspoon chili powder, and a teaspoon of paprika, and we've also got some fresh coriander there. Okay, they are literally going to go in to there, and I'm also going to add some of the oregano and some of the mixed herbs. Now, I'm going to also add some fresh basil, mixed herbs, and oregano into my bolognese. Now, how am I going to tell which one's which? Well, I could say this one's on the left and this one's on the right. However, for the chili, I'm now going to add a can of red kidney beans. Now, I've already drained these off. They are in a brine. You need to drain them off into a sieve in the sink, just like Mrs. Tom. Now, they're not hot or anything like that, but you do still need to drain them off. And I always give them a rinse under cold water. I've just left them there for a while. They have now drained fully into the can. Okay, and I'm going to add my red kidney beans. Okay. Again, sweet corn. Now, I haven't drained these, so do you want to put them on? I'll show you quickly how to drain these. Okay, so I'm just literally going to hold them over the sink. You don't need to wash these, alright? But you can just hold the can over like that and take it back away and hold it. Alright? That stops it from dripping on the floor, stops you slipping and stops other people slipping. In the bin. Now I'm going to wait for those to drain. I'm just going to show you this. That is the amount of fat that was in that mince. Okay? Now you can remember, okay, that we talked about how fat the meat adds to this, and that's Mrs. Tom's, which is starting to solidify now. So if you think about all that fat in your arteries, it's not going to be very pleasant. But we have discussed that. Okay, now I want you to think about how to reduce the fat in your food, okay, to make it healthier, and that's what we're doing here. We are literally making your food really, really healthy. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add, I don't think I'm going to add all of this sweet corn. Okay, I'm going to add half. Alright, I can use that for another dish. There you go. There is your chili. So you can tell that this is the chili because it has the beans and the sweet corn in. Right, so it's exactly the same as making the bolognese. However, you just add chili. You add the same herbs, but you add chili flakes. I'm going to show you here again. Aldi Lidl, so you've got paprika, 49 pence, chili flakes, 49 pence. This one's from Asda, but that's some chopped chili powder. You don't have to add that, you can just add those two, it will give the same effect. Okay, the paprika gives a really nice smoky flavour to your chili. Okay, obviously you've got the garlic in there and you've got the oregano and the mixed herbs. Alright, so that basically is one chili And this is bolognese. Now these, again, like Mrs. Tom said, they need to cook down for about 35 minutes. Now I'm going to wash this, okay, give it a quick rinse, because I don't want you to take food, especially if I'm going to give that a quick rinse just to get the chilli off there. I'm going to mix these herbs in, and I'm literally going to leave this to simmer on a low heat. Right, as you can see, they're simmering away, and that is cooking. Okay, so we've already browned it off, and now we're just going to leave it to cook. So there are two things that you can have. One with your bolognese is, I didn't have any spaghetti, but you can use any pasta, it doesn't really matter. So we've got some macaroni here. Okay, and you can cook some rice. I'm going to put another video or a link to show you how to cook rice properly. However, you can, and I do quite often, use these getting in from work very, very quick. They're 35 pence from Aldi or Lidl, and you literally just tear the top, might break it down a little bit in the packet and microwave it for 2 minutes, and you've got perfect rice there, and it's still really, really healthy and nutritious. Okay, it's green on the traffic light systems. There's no red, there's no amber in there. It's really, really healthy. You can get these in whole grain, you can get whole wheat, anything you want. You mix beans, anything, pulses, they're in these packets and they're 35 pence. Some of them are a little bit more expensive because they've got flavours into them, but remember you can add your own flavours using fresh herbs, garlic. Okay, so, and you could also make a vegetable rice by sauteing some rice like I did with the onion. Okay, this is Tom, how are you getting on there?
Now I'm going to do my mashed potato. I've got a little bit of butter you can use. This is Sirs and it's a low fat. Put that in and then add a little bit of milk. Now the milk is going to make it creamy and calcium. And I'm just going to mash it down very gently. I've already added a little bit of salt in there. Now, we don't want too much salt because there's going to be salt in here, and too much salt is really bad for you. So, make sure you take it off the sides. And then we just, like so. And that's going to be the topping of my cottage pie.
Mrs. Tom, that gravy looks a lot thicker than it did before. Is that, have you added anything?
I have, sir. I added a tablespoon of gravy granule instead of 2. You can make it thicker if you want by adding more, but I think at the moment that's how I'd like it.
So what basically, I mean, what happens, the more you cook it down, obviously the liquid you can see evaporates, okay, and it does thicken up naturally. Now it's got a natural thickener in there, okay, but you've got to remember when doing this, don't have the heat too high, same with anything, alright, because what can happen, it can burn on the bottom, alright, and especially if you put a gravy granule or something like that, it will coagulate the bottom, alright, and it will basically burn, so you've got to keep it moving, alright, stir every few minutes.
So that's the both parts of my dish made. We're just waiting for everything to cook now, and then they'll come back and they'll be ready. Mince is cooked minimum 35 minutes. This has been cooking for an hour. Nice and thick. I've put a spoonful into there, just like that. And now I'm going to put the potato on the top. Now, this is a piping bag. You haven't seen this yet, but Sir's going to show you all this when you get back into this photo, and you'll love it. Now, I put the mashed potato in there, tighten the bag, and then I'm just going to squeeze down the plug. And I'm just going to cover the potato. Now, you don't need one of these. If you haven't got one of these, just use a spoon. Pop it on like that. Now I know that looks prettier, but it doesn't matter. Now the potato is going to bulk this meal out, and it's your carbohydrate. Carbohydrates are always cheap, and they're always off filling in nutrients, and they give you the energy. Sue's already told you. So half of it's just been put on like that. I can get a fork. If I want, just a plain fork. And just go like that for a bit of a pattern on. Or you can pipe like that. Oh yeah. And then Sue has prepared grated some cheese just to finish it off. Sprinkle a little bit of cheese on it, adding another nutrition.
Can you just explain what the dark bits are on the cheese list, because they might look and think that doesn't look quite right.
This is a mature cheese that's kept. So, did your friend get you?
Yeah, my uncle got me from, ordered online from a Christmas hamper, and it's basically from Cheddar Gorge, which is, and basically cheese is mature in the caves. Okay.
So it's perfectly safe. It also, I think, tastes very peppery taste as well, so it might be with that. Now that you can either put in the oven, 190 gas mark, 6 for 15-20 minutes, or just put it on the grill and that'll brown the top off. It's your choice. You can freeze this now. You cannot put it in the microwave. Why can't you put it in the microwave? Foil container. Must be, if you have got no other option and it's safer, you haven't got an adult in the house, you can scoop it out, put it in a plastic bowl or a plate, and then put it in the microwave 2 minutes. And there's your shepherd's pie. A fully balanced nutritional meal. Probably cost for that portion $1.20. And that would feed 1-2 people.
Okay, so I'm not going to bother cooking the rice because I've cooked plenty of pasta, but remember that will serve 2 people as part of the main meal. Okay, so you would just get 1 packet of that, so it would cost you 70 pence to feed 4 people. Okay, so what I've got is I've got some pasta here now, I've got the chilli here, okay, and I'm just going to serve again. I've managed to get off, that's 50 grams of pasta, okay, and I still had some leftovers, that was 200 grams of pasta, okay, so there's hardly any pasta in there, but doesn't look a lot, but obviously once all of the water's absorbed, the pasta expands, and that will give you enough for 1 portion. So that's 50 grams of pasta in each one, and I'm just getting a few spoons of chilli. You can do this, so this one's a Bolognese here, this one's already got the cheese on, and then I'm going to just put some cheese on that. You can serve this with sour cream, salad, guacamole. Okay, you can serve your pasta, your Bolognese, with pizza and garlic bread, and we are actually going to make next week a lasagna using the same Bolognese, and we're also going to show you how to make pizza from scratch and garlic bread from scratch.
And
okay,
with the leftover mince, we're going to show you how to do a mince and dumplings, and we'll serve it with some vegetables.
Alright, so remember, what we have left over here will go into the freezer, it will get frozen, and it will get defrosted before we cook it the next time. Okay, so we want to show you how, with leftovers, you can make another meal. Alright, so guys, thank you very much for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Mrs. Tom.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, sir, for filming.
Yes, thank you, sir, for filming. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.